there's a memory. Oh,
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to On Air, the podcast. Glad everybody is dropping in to see us today. We have a very, very special guest with us this afternoon. I got to tell you, she is a great friend of mine. Have known her for about 3 years. With Small Town Prayer was the first one we got introduced to by Miss White, and I am glad to have her here today. Miss Sharon, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Don?
I am doing wonderful. Haven't seen you in quite a bit. What's been going on in your life?
Oh, wow. Lots. Besides work, then trying to get new music out. And so I just released a single on the 1st of March that you just played, I'll Bring the Wine. And I just released the music video for it. So just really, really keeping busy. Got lots of new tracks.
I haven't really seen the new video on that. Where is it? I haven't seen
It's on my YouTube channel.
Well, how come it's not on Cat Music Television? How come it wasn't sent to us?
I don't know. I'll have to change that.
Okay. Where's that producer? Let me get that producer in here.
Yeah.
Where is he?
He's gone.
He is gone. It is, it's co-written by Dan Washburn, great friend of mine, another
Yes.
good friend of mine. Man, you have kind of stepped up the music career a little bit here, kind of writing with some pretty famous people.
Yeah, Dan is awesome. My previous release was Help Me Fly, and Dan was a co-writer on that. And then I have a blues song that we worked on as well. And I'm not sure when that's going to be released, but just a lot of fun to get somebody else's ideas on songwriting, because so many times you hit that mental block and it just kind of stops. So it's nice to get somebody else's feedback and ideas.
Not a lot of time in your life for music. You're so busy with your personal life. Where do you put the time where do you get the time to get all this in? Like, you got a brand new studio, seen that on the videos on Facebook, that you've built a new studio in your home to make things easier, or just because it's convenient?
It's convenient. We just wanted to get it organized, put the baffles up and just make it sound better. I love having our own studio because we can record the vocals at home. As you know, I send my tracks down to Nashville, and I've got actually another set of guys that I've been working with and just do a phenomenal job. And then, get the tracks back, and then you're comfortable in your home environment. And of course, with my producer, and it's just easy. So, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of producer, is your husband, does a lot of your videos, does a lot of your back end work, we might call. Did your makeup here just a minute ago before we went on. Yeah, did it all cute and perfect. Great talent, does a lot for you in the business. You're very lucky to have that support with your family, and is that important to you to have that support?
Oh, very important. I'm really lucky, and sometimes I get a little down about things. I think sometimes things aren't happening quick enough. And then he reminds me of, how far we've come, and just keeps pushing me. And he'll say, okay, what's the next song you're working on? What are you working on next? So it kind of pushes me forward. But yeah, I'm really lucky because, to have somebody that really supports you, and my family supports me, our boys and their gals, and just the overall support I'm getting from back home or from new fans. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, let's talk about home for a minute. You were originally from the Manitoba, Canada area, and of course now in Alberta, Canada. Do you still get a lot of fans from back home in Manitoba?
Yes. In fact, it was funny because I was promoting my new video, and there was another station that grabbed onto my Small Town Prayer video, and they posted it on Facebook, and then I shared it again, and it kind of blew up all over again, from people back home, Napinka and Maleta, and sharing it all over again, and oh, this is our Napinka girl, so yeah, it's really cool.
It was a show. It was the song that we first met. Is I got first introduced to you way back in.
That was about 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while, and then you did the video for that, and it was a very first video that you and was going to call him Ricky. I was going to do it. You and Brad did together. And how did that work out? Doing a video shoot with your husband being the director and videographer all at the same time.
Again, it was a lot of fun, and we filmed it out here in Saskatchewan because that's where we are right now. And we're here usually 7 months out of the year working. And it was funny because we were traveling the back roads trying to find a location that had like a big red, or not be red barn, but a barn, because that was in the song. And so we found these really cool yards, but nobody was home. And I didn't want to just, go into somebody's land illegally. So, but we did find this red barn right close to the road. And so we're like kind of almost tippy-toeing, but trying to make a video. And this guy comes up in a tractor and he's like picking rocks. He's got a big rock picker. And we're like, I wonder if that's the guy that owns this land. Anyway, he gets off the tractor and we introduce ourselves and, exchange information. He goes, if you like this barn, you're going to love that barn. My house is just over there on the next section. You're welcome to go and use that location. And it was wonderful. Like, we got to do that. And, we brought the speaker. I brought different changes of clothes and stuff. And we played the song live. And then, it was a great learning experience. And then, of course, Brad spent, I can't imagine how many hours he spent. Well, I know, a lot of hours in the
editing
studio,
the thing.
editing it. And,
yeah, I remember back in them days, Brad was having technical difficulties. Let's put it that way. He was about having the same difficulties I used to have playing this game. It's this computer stuff just drives me nuts. I can tell you that. It was like before you came on here, I was panicking, right? Because this is all new system with the FM stations and the growth.
Right.
I'm panicking here. Get everything right, get songs right. Get everything done. And of course, Terry, my sidekick here, Miss Terry Cards, is off today, so I'm doing it solo.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were supposed to be doing this yesterday, as most people, got a hold of me and says, "Where's your interview?" And it's like, transmitter's down, can't really do much. And that is the one thing about being on the FM side, is that when that thing don't work, it messes up a whole lot of stuff. So, unfortunately, we had to cancel that. And then you were texting me, and then I found out you had another interview cancel on you yesterday with our good friend Galaxy. And I bet you thought that, didn't you? What is going on? Am I getting turf from the industry already? No, it was just a luck of the draw, that's for sure.
That's right.
This new song, great new song. Where did it come from?
Well, as a songwriter, I am an observer of people and human emotion, and I have observed couples that, they say that we're broke up, it's done. And then you find out, or you might even see them together, right? And it's just, there's still something between them. And that's where the title came from, I'll Bring the Wine. Like, he texts her and she's like, well, he still needs me. I'm going to go over and, we'll have a glass of wine and reminisce. So that's basically what the song is about. And that sometimes there's still a magnetism that, you can say you broke up, but you still keep getting back together.
True enough. That is true. Happens a lot today in today's world. It's you and Brad been married a long time. And, how does that fit in your own relationship? Gotcha there.
You have to learn, if for, to give, I can't think of the word, but for a young couple, I would say communication is key. No secrets. I don't care if it's about money. I don't care if it's whatever it's about. Don't keep secrets from each other. Be honest and open with each other. And of course, you have to enjoy being together. I mean, we're kind of a different couple because we work together. We do music together. We do a lot of stuff together. So, that doesn't maybe always work for everybody, but it works for us.
Yeah, you guys are always together. Every time we do talk, he's not very far away. Very protective. I don't know. It's right. You're going to make it big and take the money away. No, he's a great guy. And, I got to tell you, the world is changing. You're right. In the generations have really changed. How are you finding the world of music changing? From 3 years ago to today, there's been a heck of a swing in music.
Yeah. And, it's really funny because I did radio interview in our own hometown in Cochrane at the station there. They got me in for an interview, and I played my song, and they also have me on for the they have a segment called "We Love Our Locals," and so they're going to put me on there, and I thought that was awesome. And I talked to the one DJ, and he said, well, he said, we're playing a little more traditional country. And I said, oh, really? I said, great. Then I'm going to fit in more. And he said, well, yeah, I mean, people love, the Morgan Wallens and all that stuff, but they want to hear some of the old stuff too. And I thought, that's really interesting. And not just classic country, but, maybe that traditional sound that I still love to put in my music, because I love the fiddle and the steel guitar. And so, yeah, I think they're going to swing kind of back to the more traditional.
Yeah, I find that even in the radio end of my life, that there is a lot of traditional stuff coming back, and a lot of the mainstream artists are bringing back kind of the 90s kind of country that,
Exactly.
that cat country that, I'm very proud to be a part of. It plays a lot of, but I see the swing happening. There's more Morgan on there. There's some Jelly Roll being popped in now and then,
Yes.
and it kind of comes with growth. Can you see your style swinging a little bit into that, a little bit of the more poppy stuff, or, Sharon happy right where she's at?
Well, I do write in different genres. Like I've got a blues song that like I mentioned before, that I'm going to be, coming out with. My last song I just got back from my guys in Nashville is bluegrass. So I love writing in different kind of styles. And I always think of one of my idols is Linda Ronstadt, who did country and pop and rock, even big band. And I mean, I love the big band era too. I think sometimes I was born in the wrong time, but
or the wrong end of the country, one of the other.
Yeah, but I just find whatever kind of comes to me. And I mean, of course, and that Celtic, Don't Wish Away the Days was more Celtic. I have another song I'm working on that's more Celtic. So I'm not really going to be stuck in one place, but still I love that traditional country sound. Pour Me Again was kind of rocky, maybe not pop, but definitely rocky country.
Yeah, you know what? It was quite a different song from your first release to, and it just keeps progressing, And I said this just the other day to Terry. I says, we were playing your song, and I said to her, I says, man, is she ever grown? From the first time I've met her, even your interview presence has just bloomed. And I follow you quite a bit, as you know. And you used to do this little gig called Coffee with Sharon, and it kind of disappeared. And we talked about it just before we came on the air. When is it coming back? Because that you started to get quite the following there, and then all of a sudden work and life took its toll, and it disappeared. And I remember, you doing that from some pretty remote places. It's, from one minute you're in a hotel, next minute you're in the RV, showing us the great white Saskatchewan snowing in September. It's like, so you do get around. Like, so where is life going to be for Sharon?
Well, I would love to start doing that show again, even if it's once every 2 weeks, and try to be a little more committed to doing that. And then because I loved sharing any new material that I was doing, getting feedback, then it would kind of give me an idea of, okay, what do you guys think? Should I release this song? And then I also did a showcase, to showcase other artists. And I still would love to do that, maybe on a smaller scale, like maybe just give a shout out and maybe mention a song. Because again, to go into that, and then Brad has to edit it, and it takes more time. So we just got to scale it down, Dawn, to a little more, a little less time, and but still do it, because it takes a long time to get that subscribers and stuff like that. When you stop, it stops. Right.
Quickly. How important do you find that? Like, with Facebook and, all this social media buzz, do you find that important to your career? Do you spend a lot of time with it?
I do. Like we mentioned before, it's kind of crazy. When I think of where I've come from in 3 years and trying to keep up to everything, like when you and say Jer first heard me and would play my music, or there was a few in Ireland, I could block out that time. Oh, Dawn's going to play me today and Jared's going to play me here, and I can go listen. And I can't, honestly, and it's wonderful, but I can't keep up anymore to how many people are playing me, and I try to give a shout out and thank them and that stuff, but it is getting more difficult, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's kind of like our show. As people know, in the early days, we had a chat on my show all the time, and yourself and guys like Robert Eskridge and Rick Snyder, Gord Bamford, and a whole whack of them would pop in and say hi all the time, and it got to the point where I just couldn't control it anymore, and we just had to make a decision. Right. And I said, you know what, I can't do this because I'm losing track here. I'm trying to do ads, and I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to do that, but I got 700 people asking me questions, so we've got to scale it down. And that's where Terry came in. I had a sidekick come in and help me with all this. And, it makes your whole life a lot easier when you have that internal support. And your husband does a lot of that for you. And do you find does it ever strain the relationship? That you're just saying, hey, that's not quite good enough, and he's telling you, hey man, do you want to do it?
Well, yeah, sometimes we kind of get in each other's face, but it's just because we care about what's happening, and he never wants to do anything halfway. Either we're gonna
that sounds like Brad.
Yeah, and I think that's why we haven't really forged ahead with the YouTube, because until we have enough time and we can do it the right way, he doesn't want to just put me out there. I still kind of want to always have a certain sense of professionalism, and when you're talking about songwriting in that sense as well, I am trying to get better at songwriting. I'm trying to learn the craft. I'm trying to, does the story make sense? I mean, for so many years I would just write, grab a guitar and write a few lines and, okay, well then go on to the next one and go on to the next one, never finish anything. So that's where, it was really great to have Dan, kind of show me a little more about the mechanics of songwriting. And so I'm trying to do a lot better at songwriting. And although it's sometimes, people will say to me, how do you write a song? Where does it come from? I honestly don't always know. I just know if I get that, it starts coming. But now I know, okay, yeah, there's a few lines and some ideas, but if I want to finish it, it is work. I have to put the work in and do it. The other thing that's really funny is, and it just happened, I decided I was going to focus on this song. This was going to be the next one I was going to send to my guys in Nashville. And lo and behold, this other song pops up. It's almost like other songs come and they go, no, I'm going to be next, and it sounds kind of silly, but that's kind of how it happens. And it's like, okay, well, then I'm going to send that song away, and it comes back and it's like, oh, wow, I'm just finding it really exciting. And you don't always know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, you mentioned Dan Washburn. He's a, Canadian singer-songwriter, great talent in the songwriting industry, spends a lot of time in Nashville, but is Canadian. Yeah. Kind of throw that out there. Fine Canadian singer-songwriter, working with guys like Dan and the other folks in the industry. And you mentioned Nashville. Do you find a difference in that kind of talent coming from Nashville compared to Canada?
I haven't had the opportunity to really work with a lot of Canadian people. It just kind of happened that way. I know there's amazing Canadian musicians too. I just haven't had a chance to really connect with them. But it's just kind of like when you find your people, it's hard to veer off, because you've kind of found something that you really that works, and so
yeah, you and Dan kind of connect, and when it comes into the music, that song, it says Sharon Marie White all over it, but you can hear Dan's touch in there.
Yeah, well, he's a great producer, right? Like, I mean, when he goes down there and he produces the tracks for us too, like he's got the ideas as well. So
yeah, he is a very fine talent. I got to say, he was just on tour with another good friend of ours, Mr. Seamus Fitzsimmons. And I got to tell you, I'm trying to get him back in here to Western Canada. So maybe we got to hook you guys up for a little duet there. That would be an interesting duet with you and Seamus. I think would be a great connection.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Seamus is a great artist too. I mean, and that's another thing in the last 3 years, how many wonderful people I may never see personally, but I mean, we've made such great friendships online, and it's pretty cool.
you've earned yourself a couple awards in the last little while too. I seen that on your Facebook. You got the Rampage Award. Any other awards coming up, or have you won in the last little while?
I haven't, and I looked at entering the Josie Music Awards, but it's kind of like the cutoff, like when you put your music out. So I kind of keep missing all the cutoffs, and so and sometimes
Why does that sound like Sharon Marie White to me?
yeah. So I'm like, oh darn, I've missed that cutoff. So I must remember to apply next year. But I think it's great to win awards, but it's not really something that I focus on. Like I said, I just want to get better at the songwriting. And about songwriting, I mean, yeah, I loved having a co-writer, but I think it was Dolly Parton that said, because she doesn't write with a lot of other people. She writes a lot of her own stuff. And so there's a part of me that I'm kind of competitive, and I'm like, I want to be able to do some of this myself. I want to prove that I can write a song by myself as well. So that's why I say I want to get better at it too.
Yeah, you still have the big binder?
I have 2 big binders, man.
I remember us talking about that, and about how many songs you actually had that were not completed yet, and it's funny you brought that up, because it was one thing I got written down there. Has she finished a song yet?
Yeah, there's a few from there for sure, and then I've got on my phone. I have, like, on the audio, you can make audio things, and I scroll and I scroll, and I try to at least kind of put what the title is, or it's just maybe cool chords or something like that. And I scroll, and sometimes I go, what is this? And I press the button. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I wrote that. That's pretty good. I should go back to that one.
Wow, did that come from my voice? Wow, that's pretty interesting.
So you write so many things and you forget, right? So it's yeah.
Yeah, and you're flipping through your phone one day, and then all of a sudden it's a #1 hit, right? It's like, uh-oh.
Well, and it's funny because I'm working on another song. It's almost finished, and it's more of a kind of a summer anthem. And when I first started writing it, I showed Brad and I showed our youngest son, and they were like, it's not our favorite, not really. It's kind of cliche, and I thought, no, but I think there's something here. So I keep working on it, change the key, and so I've been playing it, and they're like, even my youngest son's like, I like that. I think that's going to work now. But sometimes you just have to keep working at it.
It never ends, that's for sure. So you do got another one coming out here in the next little while. Let's talk about that one. Feels like, what is it now? I can't even read my own writing now.
Feels like home in a small town.
Small town. There you go. Yeah, it is. That's the next one coming out. When can we expect that coming out?
I'm hoping probably maybe June, July, something like that. I'm trying to release my songs a little quicker if I can. And that song is going to be, it kind of is along the lines of Small Town Prayer. And it's about, because as you know, we travel around a lot, especially Saskatchewan, and we go to other little towns in Saskatchewan. And I was walking around this little town one day, and I walked through the park with the epitaph, and I see in the hotel on the corner, and I thought, wow, so many of these little towns, they feel like home, but you don't necessarily know the people, but to me, they feel like home because it feels like the small town I came from. So that's what that song's about. And I hope I'm excited because I think, especially if you like Small Town Prayer, I think you'll like this one because it just talks about that small town feel again. Small
Town Prayer is still one of my favorite songs that you do. I play it still on the station. It is one of my favorites. It reminds me of where I came from. It reminds me of home, and where the small town, the little the churches and the barns, and everything that I grew up around. So it does bring some heart back to my soul when I hear stuff like that. And you say you travel all over and of course in your other life, your other business, you're in the oil industry. Do you ever find that hard to be in that industry in today's world? It's just so much craziness going on with the attacks on the oil industry. And, I shouldn't put this into you, but I'm going to, because you're in that business.
Mhm.
Um, do you think you're getting a fair shake, with the oil industry?
Well, it's really funny because there was at least 5 years, but we never lost much work. We always kept fairly busy, and now we're busier than ever. But yeah, it was difficult, and you really, because we're heading into, kind of the downside of our work life. We worried that, oh my goodness, are we even going to have jobs? Right, of course. But it's, and we are definitely not against green. I mean, I think it's great, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take time. And so in the interim, we still need oil and gas. We still, we need that. And so you have to be, again, common sense about it. And I think sometimes I don't know where the common sense sometimes is gone.
There is not much common sense left in the world today. I just, every time I turn on the news, you got to shake your heads. Either someone's getting shot, or the whole race thing, transgender thing, sexuality in schools. Like, this whole world's gone crazy, and we're not going to get into that. Definitely not going to get into that kind of topic here. It's just gone crazy, and I believe that everybody has their right to believe. So. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. And when you ask me how I find time for everything, that's a big part of it. Is I don't watch TV at night. Brad and I'll watch a movie. That's kind of our treat. We'll watch a movie together. But and I'm also a visual artist. So if I'm not writing music, I'm in my art studio, or I bring my art studio on the road.
I was going to get into that. You got some fantastic artwork, and that was a side I did not know about Sharon Marie White until one day I'm flipping through Facebook, and there it is. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, is there no end to this girl's talent? It was like, man, you do some great work, and let's talk about that. Like, is that just an exercise and relaxation, or is that something you really proceed at it and trying to make a living at?
Well, it's kind of both. It is very relaxing. It puts me in another kind of zone of creativity. And I love doing pet portraits because Brad has asthma, so we can't have any pets. So when I get to do pet portraits, I'm like, well, I kind of get to, be involved with pets.
They got them hairless things out there.
I know, but he's allergic to the dander. But anyway.
Sounds like an excuse not to have a pet to me.
Well, yeah. But no,
You'll tell the kids the truth someday, Sharon.
Yeah. But I love that part. And I also compare art to music, because in art, you have the blank canvas staring at you. And in music, you have a couple of lines, a couple of chords. And before you know it, either the picture is done because you've put in the work, or the song is written because you've put in the work. So I love both of those creative avenues.
You got some great paintings out there. Some are for sale. Where would they find that if they wanted to buy some of your artwork? Because, folks, it has got, you would just go look. It is incredible work. It surprised me. And we've talked about it before. Yeah. It's like, where the hell did that come from? And why didn't you ever share that with the world? It's like, you're building a music career, but, throw that in there, and it just shocked me to see the work that you actually do with a paintbrush. It's just incredible talent.
Well,
and
I think I wasn't sure what to do with it, because it's like, we were talking about before, having so many irons in the fire, as you guys do with all your channels and everything. And sometimes you kind of go, okay, where do I focus here? So I've really been focused on the music, but I still try to, do the art as well, because it does something for me too, right?
I don't know. Like now you got me thinking. Like, where does she find the damn time? Music, art, career, and it's not like you work for somebody. You guys work for yourself, so there is a work ethic there that has to be standardized so that you keep an income rolling into your family. Do you find that you hope that one day music will take over and make that income? You know,
Yeah, I can't deny that I really hope that happens. I don't know what form. I mean, a dream for me would to have other people perhaps record my music, my songs, or to find a publisher. I don't know much about that part of the business, but to be able to write for others as a job, I think that would be amazing. I think that would be one of my dreams. I love playing live, and I'm just kind of a one woman show. If I played at a house concert this winter, and I just played, my sound system, and took my guitar and myself. I didn't do the backing tracks, but I've played other events where I can play my backing tracks because Brad's done them for me, and a drum beatbox, because it just makes it a little more lively and a little more fun. But I still love playing out, and when you see somebody smiling, as you're performing your music, there's no better high than that. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like when someone first sings along and you notice them singing along with your song. It's like, people actually are listening. It's a great feeling. It's like when we do our stuff here and people recognize us here. It's pretty interesting that you can't even walk to the grocery store anymore without people stopping you. Do you find that in your life that people are recognizing who Sharon Marie White is now?
It was funny. It happened the other day at the eyeglass place I was at. She goes,
Hence mine too.
I thought I recognized you. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. You just put out a new single, didn't you? And I'm like, yes, I did. Yeah, actually. But it doesn't happen a whole lot just because I'm not out a whole lot. But I would love to play out more if I could. Just like I said, for birthday parties, anniversaries, just for fun. I'd love to get the opportunity to open for somebody. But again, we're so darn busy here, so unless I find, some gigs out in Saskatchewan. I did get asked to play along with Dwayne Watson and Travis Pickering at the, where is it? It's in Alberta, not very far from us. I think is it Caroline? There's like an event, and, I was honored to be asked, and I thought, oh, this is great. Because I'd love to. I haven't even met Travis yet, and I haven't met Dwayne Watson, but unfortunately, we'll be here, so I won't be able to. But
great talents, both of them.
Yeah.
Very, very great talents. Travis Pickering,
Yeah.
Dwayne, both friends of mine. It's crazy, I keep saying they're friends of mine, and it's so many people that I've met in this industry like you that have become really good friends of mine, and they would be a great talent for you to hook up with. I can tell you that. Yeah, Travis just released a new single, and Dwayne, he's always on the ball. He's never
always
stops,
creating.
never stops. So it is. So you have some plans for some gigs in Saskatchewan, or just kind of hopeful that something might come up, or are you just going to start looking? Or
I'm going to start looking and posting on Facebook that I'm in the area, and if somebody wants to hire me, and otherwise I'm going to be working. I'm going to be creating new music, new songs. I've got 5 right now that I need to get out. So
5.
Yes.
Wait, isn't that about the same number you said the last time we talked? We got about 5 on the go. Yeah.
But just actually harmonies.
We have to get you into a whole album. Just release them all at once. Just poof, done. There's Sharon Marie's for the year. It's all out. Release them one at a time so that they're just complete. It's always great talking to you, Sharon. You always make my day, and you and Brad, some of the things you do are incredible on your own, and I'm gonna say this. You should appreciate that guy. He does a lot of work for you.
I do.
And it's great to know that you're still out there and working hard. If you want to talk to Sharon Marie White, you can hit her up on Facebook, of course. You got a website too, Sharon.
Yes, SharonMarieWhite.com. All my links are on there, and I have I posted my link tree as well. And if you go on there, all my websites are on there, and Spotify. And I just wanted to thank everybody. I want to thank you for supporting me. Right from the first song, you heard something in me, and that means so much to me that that you saw something in me or you heard something in me. And I want to thank all the fans that I was thinking today. Well, probably because where we are, there's a train track right behind us. So I hear about 5 trains a day, and I thought, you know what? My music career is kind of like a train, you know, how it's slow to get going and then it picks up some speed. And if it's a passenger train, there's people that get on board. I mean, that's kind of what's happening. You know, you slowly but surely you find your people that like your music and inspire you to go on.
It's a great analogy and way to put it. That's for sure. You know, it's a different way to look at it. That's for sure. But you know, I see your music is like that train that could. You know, and it's gonna take off. It is taking off. You're huge in Europe. Talk to Gerald Bry all the time, and it's like, you know, your music is being played all over the place in Europe,
Yes.
and it's great to see. Do you know? There's a big question. Why is our music more popular in Europe than it is right here in Canada? Like the independent artist in Europe is huge compared to here.
Yeah, I don't know. I still haven't quite figured that out. Although I just know it's very competitive to get airplay in Canada. And again, slowly but surely, I get a few plays here and there. But yeah, it's if you don't have that big label behind you, it's pretty hard because we don't have the big money to do the big advertising, and so I'm still trying to figure that out, especially if I'm not out touring. How do I get out there more? How do get people to know my music, and when you don't have that big label behind you? But
Yeah, it's social media.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's just nonstop.
And
And with
stay positive, right? Don't, going back to the train analogy, don't get on the negative train, because I mean that won't help you.
Yeah, you know, and it's truly that is a true statement. You know, positivity in this world is lacking. That's number one. But it is a big hump here in this business, because you know there's a lot of kickdowns in this business, and you seem to be hurtling all over them like crazy. So you know,
I'm trying.
oh, you're doing a great job. You know, your music is just it's radio worthy, and that's one thing I can say about Sharon White. Nothing gets released unless it is radio ready and perfect, and that makes it a lot easier for guys like me when we're listening to your stuff to put it on the air. And right now, if you guys want to hear Sharon White's music, you could hear it on Cat Country at www.catcountry.com. You could also listen to it to 103.7 in Virginia Beach, and of course at US 99 in Myrtle Beach, our FM affiliates that we are on each and every day. So Sharon, it has been great talking to you. Gonna cut you loose because I know you're a busy woman. You know, got to get some art done.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's called paperwork. Yeah, get her
Yeah.
done. Yeah, middle of the day, taking the day off is probably not what you're supposed to be doing, right?
That's okay. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to have you. There you go, Miss Sharon White. Brand new song, I'll Bring the Wine, out now on every aspect of music, Spotify, iTunes, the whole 9 yards. Check her out at SharonMarieWhite.com. Hey, everybody, we will see you next time on Air, the podcast. Glad everybody is here. Hey, we'll check you out some other time. Take care. Have a great day.